warning.
Welcome to the 2-minute warning, where sports fans sound off.
I'm trying to blow your mind. I'm talking literally blow your mind. I'm trying to blow your mind. I'm talking literally blow your mind.
What's up, people? We're back again with our 29th episode of the Pride Rules podcast, sponsored by 2 Minute Warning. We got the usual four co-hosts, cornermen of the round table, myself, Carl. We got Omar, Tommy, Chris on the line. What's up, gentlemen? Today we're discussing the 211 card that is set for this Saturday. Should be an interesting card. It's pretty damn stacked, if you ask me. There's a lot of fights, basically all the way down to the prelim. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely got some treats on it. They every once in a while a card comes along and it's just fucking, it really gets your juices going.
This is what
your
proves
saliva.
that the UFC isn't going anywhere, because no other organization is putting on a card like this every 3 months.
That is a good point. I mean,
they haven't put a card on like this every 3 months, though. This is probably going to be the best card of the year.
Every 4 months?
This is probably going to be the best card of the year.
The UFC is becoming that inconsistent boyfriend that everybody complains about in my past relationships. Wait a second, was that too personal?
Wasn't 205 in like November though? Like, that's obviously the best card that we've seen ever. I don't care what anyone says. There was fucking title fights all over that card, and you know, every fight basically went distance except for the Conor fight, which, you know, I knew that's the way it was going to go, but we can't say that there hasn't been a card like this within a year, because obviously that fight is that card was way better so far. I mean, even with the fights that are scheduled for this one, it's not. Yeah, 6 months ago, but you know, within a 12-month period, either way, I don't know. I just can't. I
would say that there's like 3 or 4
statement.
pay-per-views every year that I refuse to miss. Beyond that, you know, there's really not that many.
You don't want to miss the fights. I know you're not missing the fights, so it's not like you're going to sit there and say you're not watching them anyway. But
there's ones that I just can't miss, regardless. I refuse to miss.
You mean there's ones you pay for, and then there's ones that you might not pay for?
Yeah. There's ones you pay for, and then there's ones you stream? Is that what you're saying?
Well, no. You know what it is they've had other ones that have been set up, like on paper were supposed to be a really good pay-per-view, and it ended up just being a bore fest. You know, what's her name? Ronda Rousey's pay-per-view.
Yeah, 200.
That was a snoozer.
Like that Canelo fight?
That was a snoozer.
Yeah. Snoozer. Yo. Jesus.
You know, so
we're getting better boxing.
This one on paper looks like bad. This one on paper looks like it's going to be really good. I think it'll hold up. I mean, I hope it does.
Yeah, it definde's got some fights on there that tickle your fancy for sure. No question. But you know, you look at we were talking about pay-per-view cards and UFC putting out like a consistent. I don't know. They have the stars to be able to put these pay-per-view fights on. You look at the Bellator card. I read somewhere that MVP is actually out with an injury. Is that correct? Anyone else read that? And can someone confirm that for me?
I haven't heard that. But I'll check right now.
Oh shit! Yeah, you got
a source? You heard it on BJPenn.com?
Oh, hey now. Hey, stop.
Is that where you heard it?
Hey. All right. The only thing getting more hits than BJ is BJPenn.com.
I was thumbing through a bunch of other sites. I was thumbing through a bunch of other sites, and it was like at the bottom of one of the articles, and I don't know why I didn't click on it. I was kind of pissed off if that was the case, but, you know. I need confirmation.
That'd be terrible.
For it.
Yeah,
that'd be
horrible. Need confirmation for that. Because, I mean...
I'll look it up in a second.
No, he's not.
Is that the card that Bader's on, too? Is Bader on that card, too?
I think so.
Who?
No.
Okay, so... Okay.
No, Liam is on that card.
Michael Page isn't out of anything. He's fine.
All right, good.
You just got confirmed. Did he text you, Chris? Did he text you that? Because that sounds pretty.
He just texted him confirming it.
Yikes!
Well, he was catching Pokemon in front of Chris's house.
Yeah,
I could see that. Bulbasaur is chilling in the back of their house. I could see that. Bulbasaur just
my 6 and 8 year old nephews would love him. Believe me, for no reason other than the Pokemon.
That's fine.
So he attracts a younger fan base, but that would definitely be detrimental to that card for sure. I mean, it's pretty stacked to begin with, but they don't have the firepower to put that.
Is that the pay-per-view that they're trying to? Is that the
I'm
same?
Pretty sure.
Is it? Yeah. So they can't afford any star to even get a hangnail. All right. This is a big roll of the dice, I think, for Bellator. If anybody, they're going to be putting in substitutes. They're going to be putting in Ken Shamrock with blackface if MVP gets bent.
Imagine if Fedor pulls from the card.
Yikes. He's getting investigated by the FBI right now, as is every Russian that's ever set foot in the United States. So he might very well not
even on the card.
Is anybody really still excited to see Fedor fight?
You shut your
I'm
mouth.
a huge Fedor fan, so yeah.
I'm more excited to see him fight than Anderson, but who's more of a legend?
Yeah, I mean, but who he's fighting isn't exciting, so it just takes.
Doesn't matter.
No, but
he could be playing chess in his sweater. Exactly. The man could be reading me Dostoevsky.
You guys like these middle-aged fighters with fucking beer bellies. Asian
Because I identify with them, Chris. Okay, not everybody has a fucking six-pack. All right, some of us are over here carrying a little extra around the middle, and our pillow talk involves actually talking to the pillow around our gut.
Nate Diaz doesn't have a six-pack. He's got a skinny, fat frame, according to Connor.
That's fine.
He looks like a gazelle. Don't nobody know what a gazelle is. This is America.
about that coffee, Nate.
Yeah. Jesus
Don't
Christ.
leave Fedor's dad bod alone. Fedor always had that dad bod, and he destroyed all of Japan with that dad bod. So
seriously,
he destroyed a bunch of nobodies.
Whoa, hey, hold on a second. Crow Cop had
Are you talking about the beginning of Connor's career in the UFC?
Crow Cop had access to every pharmaceutical known to man, all right? Even stuff that they probably pumped into the shuttle to make the shuttle go. And Fedor still beat his ass. All right, so I don't want to hear about it. Get out of here. Jet fuel.
Oh,
read about
man.
it. Eddie Bravo.
Dana White was like, if Nate was smart, he'd take the fight with Ferguson, and we'd give him an interim belt. Then he'd set himself up for some pay-per-view money if he fought Conor to unify. And he's like, nobody give a fuck about no interim titles, dude.
Seriously,
I can't get over it.
I thought it was Tommy. I thought Tommy was feeding him lines for a second.
Right.
It was crazy.
Well, I haven't talked to you guys in a couple days, so maybe I was. I was hitting him up in his DMs like, this is what
He's
you
a ghostwriter. This motherfucker.
Isn't it amazing that Dana White tries to entice a fighter into like a big fight by offering him an interim title? Like, that's so cheesy. It's so corny.
The Cracker Jack prize.
Seriously, it's like, who gives a fuck? Like,
participation trophy.
Let me give 45 years of my life at a company for a gold watch. Yeah, no. Where's the pension? Where's the cash?
Right.
Like, go fuck. I'm not doing that. Get out of here. Oh, it has my initials on it? Oh, damn. Well, now, hold on a second. Yup, I'll trade time for money. No. Nate's in a great spot right now. He needs to keep telling Dana White to, fuck you, pay me.
Yeah, he's like, me and Nick are kind of seriously just racing, and Eddie Alvarez is like, I want to win this fight with Poirier, and then rip Nate off the bike and try to get him into the cage, and he ain't having any part of that either. So it is what it is.
We got some pretty serious races. Like, what? Okay. Serious races? What?
Oh, my God.
Nathan, get back in the cage. Good Lord.
Well, before we get into the 211 preview, I wanted to bring something else up because we talked about it last week. The UFC has come out and basically released a statement or a bunch of statements from an unnamed source because he isn't authorized to comment on the situation, but he knows the situation, so he was doing it unanimously. And again, I don't know how credible it is, but it's basically all over the news. The Iaquinta situation with the whole ban on the bonuses or whatever. They're saying that it is a suspension on the bonuses. He's not able to win a bonus because of like a fight convention in Buffalo that he skipped out on when they sent a car to pick him up at the airport.
Time out. He did not skip out on that convention.
Well, that's
in the middle of
the report is.
Middle of a camp, and he was hurt, and he did not want to go to Vegas, so they were fine with it. And he went to the beach
Buffalo.
because he lives like 10 minutes from the beach. No, he was supposed to go to a convention in Vegas. That's what he said on every podcast that he's been on since this has been talked about.
Well, I mean, the story that I read today said Buffalo or something. It was a fight convention in Buffalo, and he was supposed to go.
They told him it was fine that he didn't go because he was hurt. So what did he do? He went to the beach,
that the guy
right around the corner.
I'm just saying he said that.
It's a joke.
Right, they're going back and forth. I think they're both trying to jockey for position in the media to seem right because he's basically lambasting the entire organization. You know, they were saying he had a chronic knee problem that they actually paid money to get fixed, and then as soon as Dana paid for it to get fixed, he comes out and basically taunting Dana about it. I get it. It's you're a fighter that you're not accepting the most upscale professional individual. You want a guy with a little brash attitude and personality. So they're kind of getting what they deserve in this whole thing because of the guys that they sign. Not to say Kid is a bad guy. That's his personality. He feels cheated in a way, so he's attacking the people that are cheating him. So it's really up for interpretation as to who's even right in this situation. I don't know. After what I read today, it kind of put it into perspective a little bit. There was apparently 3 strikes that led to this. So, I don't know how many I think it was a 3-fight ban on receiving any $50,000 bonus. So I'm not sure how many he's got left. I think there's 1 fight left on that if I'm not mistaken, but I don't know, I'll check that out in a second. But that's really
but the worst part he's making but the problem is he's making less now than he did the night he fought Joe Lozon. You know what I'm saying?
Which is kind of crazy. So, if you think of that, that's kind of crazy.
It's not right.
It's criminal.
Not right.
But how does that happen? How does that happen? Is it a different contract? Is it a new contract that you signed yourself? I don't understand that.
I guess. They had to restructure his contract somehow. And
as a fighter, don't you have to sign that contract and then abide by it? That's what I don't understand. If he's complaining that he's making less money today, then that was in his contract. If it's still the same contract, which I can't believe it is.
I guess maybe he was thinking that Dana was going to do the right thing, especially after he knocks out Diego Sanchez on his returning fight after a 2-year layoff. I guess he figured maybe Dana was going to throw him a bone somehow.
Yeah, but just because he doesn't, I don't think you should blast him the way he did. Going into the whole thing under the interpretation, they'll do it, they'll do me right if I put on a good show.
Did Ally Quinta have relations with Dana White's wife or something? Because this is really what this sort of shit seems like. Doesn't that seem like?
You hear Matt Serra and Ray Longo. They both say they're we don't understand what the problem with Al has been. And they both say it, and I agree with them. They don't really agree with the way he's going about it, but they understand.
Yeah, I think there's blame.
Going about
there's blame on both
way,
sides. There's blame on both sides, but I'm always and forever going to side on the on labor and on the fighter side. I mean, that's just me. Call me a Marxist crazy man, but I'm always going to be listen, there's definitely enough cash. You're gonna so you won't sign Ben Askren because he's a boring fighter, but then you have a crazy, great knockout artist that you then won't give extra scratch to. Makes no sense to me, especially when your product is hungry for stars. I mean, this guy can speak English. He can sell you a house. He's got a great haircut. He's top 10, bodied up in that division. I mean, what does he not bring to the table, for God's sake? He's a citizen of the United States. There's nothing.
He doesn't bring an Irish accent and an entire country.
He doesn't fall in line for Dana.
That's what it is. It's just saying yes
or
no,
sir. Yeah, but neither does Connor. Line for Dana. Connor does whatever he wants.
Connor
did that after, though.
No other fighter does.
Notice. Connor jumped out with that sort of ridiculousness.
Connor earns them money, but you know what? Iaquinta could do the same thing if they give the guy the chances that they gave Connor.
And he can get him a nice house in Oyster Bay.
It's not like the guy doesn't have an exciting fight.
Iaquinta's never gotten 40,000 people to go watch him weigh in.
Well, because he's from the United fucking States.
Okay, but that's it doesn't really matter really where you're from. I get what you're saying though. He's saying if you have somebody from another country, people flock to that are of that background or whatever and culture. So I could see that, but one time he cursed on like a Fox promotion. Another time there was an incident with after one of his fights. We talked about the Lozon fight, and then now this. So like that's what I'm saying. It's a long time coming. They're just, I guess, pissed off. They're like, all right, well, if the behavior is going to continue, we have to do something, or else it's going to spiral out of control, which it could. Conor was talking a lot of stuff, but when he fought on the fight night card against Seaver or whatever, 60 G's, baby, like that's what he said. He didn't curse or anything, so I think he went about it a little different, a little more charismatic.
Brock Lesnar told the whole pay-per-view that he was going to go home to drink a Coors Light because Bud Light won't pay him anything, and then he was going to go home and lay on top of his wife. Dana did
nothing.
That's
a pay-per-view.
But as exciting as his fights, by the way. Probably.
Again, you're comparing him to a guy that that puts asses in seats. You're talking about Brock Lesnar and Conor McGregor, arguably the two biggest stars the UFC has ever had.
Right.
If
Without
not
vagina.
definitively the biggest stars the UFC has ever had. Al Iaquinta is not going to get the same treatment from the brass that those guys get. Brock Lesnar was allowed to take steroids.
Yeah,
but he's not going to get the opportunity, Tommy. Like
if they gave him the same opportunity they gave Conor, there's no reason why he couldn't.
Conor though, like I'd like to say that I'm not defending him. I know Tommy, you're going to roast me later, but like even Conor had a different attitude before he started seeing the numbers that he was bringing in. And then once that happened, then he turned the corner and said, listen, as a businessman, I think Iaquinta shot himself in the foot too many times. But, like, as a fighter, of course he deserves the same sort of shine. And if they gave him the opportunities, I'm positive that he could rock a mic. Like, I heard him on Chael Sonden's podcast. Mm-hmm. He was great on there.
But let's be real about this. Iaquinta was gone for 2 years. Nobody missed him. Nobody gave a shit.
I did. You stop it.
I mean,
I wrote him letters.
Be real.
Hey, I'm
being
real.
What he's saying is true.
I'm not taking anything away from how good he is. I think he's exciting as hell. I'll tune in to watch him. I'll be excited to see any fight that he's involved in. But also, if he's not fighting, I really don't give a shit. Conor McGregor doesn't fight. Like eventually I get like frustrated. I want to see the guy fight. I want to see, he's must-see TV. Iaquinta's not headlining any cards. He hasn't.
Who else is that way, Chris, for you? Is there anybody else that tugs at you that way? I'm asking honestly.
I wonder.
No,
Nick and Nate Diaz.
Okay, and then but don't. So wouldn't you think that it would be in the UFC's best interest to cultivate more of it? In a way?
Well, that's what Nate said. Nate's actually saying, like, the UFC has stars, they're just not promoting them the right way.
I think that you're missing my point altogether. I'm not siding with the UFC as a whole in their handling of every UFC fighter. I think that they treat their fighters like shit, but that's how they are. That's just who they are. So if you're going to be bitter about it, then don't fight for them. Fight for somebody else.
There needs to be a fighters union in place, just like there's a players union in place protecting the players in every other major sport. We've said it before. They tried it, but the wrong people were in charge, and it fizzled out as quickly as it started.
And even the guys that you just bring up, when you try and make that point, you bring up Nick and Nate Diaz. That's who you're referring to, obviously. When anybody jokes with me about a fighter that I like. So we're talking about two more of the biggest draws in this sport, Iaquinta and the four guys that he's been compared to so far. He's just not on that level.
Yeah,
Nick,
I
Nate,
agree.
Conor,
I agree.
Now, what would you think about this? Iaquinta versus Nate.
I think Iaquinta would get boxed up and then choked out. Wherever the fight goes, I think Nate has the advantage.
No, I said Iaquinta, not Conor.
Oh.
Yeah, all right.
Yikes.
No, that's right. There's some suspense and excitement to that fight, but I think Iaquinta is a little bit away.
I don't think Nate even would ever take that fight. There's no reason for it.
If he's not taking a fight with Tony Ferguson, he's not taking a fight with Eddie Alvarez. He's not going to take a fight with Al Iaquinta. There's just too much to lose for Nate right now.
He's just not taking a fight with anybody.
Well, that's the thing.
He's not taking a fight with anybody.
Dana said he's like, let's see what his value is without Conor McGregor first before we start to talk about the numbers that he thinks he deserves. It makes sense, without
and
Conor
honestly,
McGregor.
that's fair.
It is.
No,
I really think that is too.
No,
I think that's fair.
It's 1,000% not.
You're crazy.
Forget that. No, it's not. I think it's labor it's labor messing around and trying to play hardball, and I'm never going to be in favor of that. I think, Dana, it's really hard to talk about out of both sides of your mouth. Dana White's got $300 million chilling in his bank account. Yeah, let's wait to see the value. Get the fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like,
what would test that value? Honestly, and you wouldn't even have to do it on a pay-per-view. Have him headline, let's just say a fight night, and see how many people.
And have him do it against Bellator, right? Like have it be one of those free cards that they stack against the Bellator and see if he can draw and just have that be that ace in the hole and just be the Bellator spoiler. At that point, that would make sense. I mean, we've always said here on the Pride Rules podcast that we'll give some business advice. They should hit us up. They really should.
I think that Nate would draw good
prices. I think he would.
I really think at this point, with the right opponent, a Nate Diaz Tony Ferguson fight, people would get up for that, definitely, because the winner would fight Conor to see, who if he could either defend or if there's going to be a new champion crowned. And you have the whole mystique of Nate already beating Conor and then taking him 5 rounds and putting together that war. And Ferguson, his shine is his undefeated streak or whatever. There's definitely backstories to that fight that give it some juiciness, which I think people will pay to see. But outside of that, is there really even another fight in that division that anyone wants to see Nate Diaz fight? Who knows? I really can't tell at this point, aside from Conor McGregor, of course, because of the rubber match factor or whatever. But, it is a fair assessment from Dana because that's just the nature of the business. You have to see what these guys are worth before you pay them that money. It's like, what have you done for me in the past up to the point where you're at the end of your career? Then it's like, what do you still have left in the tank? Which, it always sides with the organization, which with the billionaires. That's why you need a players union or a fighters union in place, because it protects their rights later in their contract when, they really don't have as much fight and legs to stand on, I guess I should say. But, it's neither here nor there. We'll see what happens.
But here's my thought. I think Dana's looking at it from a side of, okay, so let's say we give him this money and he lays an egg. What the hell? That's a waste. Look at Jacare. Signs an 8-fight deal and gets his ass kicked by Whitaker. That wasn't even close. I think that's what Dana's afraid of.
Yeah, but Jacare has some staying power. I think that guys like Jacare have done enough in their career. They're accomplished in other aspects as to where Jacare is going to remain, a constant at the top of that division. Just because a guy that's really good beat him doesn't mean Jacare is worthless.
Right.
Not
and
sure
you have to remember,
but it's a risk. It's just a risk.
You have to keep in mind, though.
You know what I mean?
You have to keep in mind when we're talking about things like this, we're talking from the public's perspective. Like, listen, the four of us, we basically bury ourselves in MMA. Not everybody does that. Everyone, they hear about the big fight because they're watching, the Channel 7 news in the morning before they go to work, and they have a piece on it, because they only talk about the biggest hype, most trending stories in the nation or whatever. That's where you get that superstardom and where they get those special privileges from. You're not going to hear about these other guys in those stories, so it is what it is. You have to think of it from an average fan perspective, a casual fan's perspective, as we should always say. But
plus,
it is what it is.
If he takes another fight before Conor and he loses, then that Conor fight's gone, because then it makes no sense.
Exactly. That's why he's holding out, and it's smart. It's a business tactic. I get it, but it is what it is. Nate's thinking I don't need pay-per-view money. I don't need anything else. Just get me in the cage with Conor again. The people will want to see that. Give me a set dollar figure to fight Conor again, because if I beat him, then I'm the champ. If not, it is what it is. He still wants to make that money and be able to live his life.
Hope, not to jump topics, but I really hope that he's going to be coming back soon. Now that this whole boxing date is gone, which I don't even think they really technically had a fucking date to begin with, but
no, they didn't have a date.
Boxing talk out. Goddamn fucking cage, so the UFC can start generating some more fucking money. Have him defend a belt. Have him fight for the heavyweight title. It doesn't matter.
What is this whole boxing date thing about? They lost their date. Okay, well there's another Saturday, 7 days before
in
that
September,
one.
Right?
Because now they're looking. No, it's just a bullshit excuse. That's all it was. It's a bullshit excuse because now the fight's going to get. We got to find another date. It's a bullshit excuse. It's a stall tactic.
It's one line.
It makes no sense.
It's one line.
Dana White did say that walk away
after
from
the Canelo fight.
Yeah.
Go ahead. What'd you say?
I said Dana White said he's willing to walk away from the fight altogether.
Of course he is,
course.
because there was never really one going on to begin with. It's just
Well, I always attested to that. I said that it's all smoke and mirrors as long as Conor's out.
No, you did.
Floyd and Conor are in cahoots, talking about keeping each other in the news. Like they're staying relevant. Floyd went on his London tour. You could probably listen to I think it was 5-6 weeks ago where I said what was Floyd doing in London in the UK? What was he doing over there? For what? Promoting himself for what? A fake fight with Conor? No, come on.
Giving seminars.
He
was opening gyms and shit. That's he was doing co-promotion out there as well. That's what he was doing, and I think it went hand in hand.
Right.
Yeah, but how bad does that make the UFC look that it was made mere hours after the fighter just got done fighting? Hours after.
No, that fight was
everybody wants was set right away.
That fight was fixed. Chavez got paid off, and he's a he's a lazy Mexican anyway. So fuck that guy. But trust me. Are you kidding me? That's what happens when you're Mexican, but you're raised with a silver spoon in your mouth. Get the hell out of here. I haven't seen a Mexican that lazy. All right, since one got his green card, and then was told, hey, listen, you got to get back to work. And he's like, fuck you, bro. I'm good. But come on, man. All right, can we talk about that fight for a second, or is that off limits? Because I almost paid for it.
Chavez Jr. He's been a laughing stock, I think, of Mexican boxing for a while. Nobody likes him in Mexico.
No, he's reviled by his own people. The face-off between him and Canelo, the Kellerman face-off that they do, was pure fire on Canelo's part. He wanted to chew on his face.
Yeah,
and
he
I
was
loved
seething.
It.
Are you talking about
God.
that one-on-one conversation? I watched that.
Yes. Oh my God. And let me tell you, as somebody who speaks the language, there was a lot they didn't translate or subtitle or whatever that just added subtle nuances to you're basically a fuckboy. Your father was amazing. You're a laughingstock. You're not worthy of your father's name, pretty much. And then he's like, I'm going to kill you. I said, well, if I had any doubts as to who I'm putting money on, that pretty much sealed the deal. That and the fact that Canelo looked like a tank in that little three-piece
Why is
suit.
nobody giving Canelo a chance in this Triple G fight? I don't understand that.
I like him in it.
Knocking dudes fucking conscious, dude. He's way bigger.
He is.
Yeah,
but he has trouble with people on the inside. I was listening to, I don't want to take this commentary as my own. I was listening to Brendan Schaub on The Fighter and the Kid. Shout out to Schaub, to Big Brown. And but he had some fair points. There was, there's styles make a fight. There was trouble that Triple G had with a guy who was good at infighting. I think, if there's any time to ever catch him, it's when Triple G's, 35, going on 36. I'm not 1,000% sold on the Triple G I saw on the last fight being the Triple G that we're used to. I mean, yes, he can knock out everybody, and he's, this killer. But I remember at work telling, hey, man, you don't know this Russian? Watch, he's going to destroy people. And then it was a pretty back-and-forth fight. Everybody's like, yeah, you know about fighting? Yeah, you have a podcast? I'm like, I swear to God I do. I mean, trust me, it's just a bad matchup.
Yeah, he could have just had an off night, though. You know what I mean?
True.
He could have just had
People
an off
said he
night.
had the flu. But
so
I'm excited for the fight,
I'm excited for
Holy
the fight.
Smokes.
It's nice that boxing gives you the fights that everybody wants to see.
Oh, boy.
That's nice.
As opposed to
Conor.
Yeah, that's where he's going. Jesus.
What fight do you want to see that you ain't getting to see? Name one.
Frankie Edgar, Conor.
Oh my
God!
Frankie Edgar.
I want to see
what's supposed to happen. That's not what everybody wants.
No, I'm busting
Cyborg versus Frankie Edgar.
Nobody outside of New Jersey wants to see that fight.
Oh my! No, wait a second. Okay, I'm up in wherever the hell I am, and I want to see that fight. All right, so
did they even fight
in New York?
Didn't they strip Conor of the weight class, the belt in that weight class? That Frankie should be fighting at 35 to begin with. All right, let's just say that. But
we'll see. I mean, hey, we'll see what happens after this fight. I mean, this fight's more for Yair than it is for him. Like,
shit,
this really doesn't do.
He's got more to lose, Frankie. That's for sure.
Frankie's not going to move up with the win in this fight. He's just going to have beat the guy below him.
Well, yeah, that's funny because he's still number 2, and he's been number 2 ever since he got in that division.
And who does he work for? He works for the good old UFC. But I think this fight, I don't know why. Well, Yair asked.
I don't think and as mistreated as people say he's been in the UFC. He's been given plenty of opportunities to he's fought in a lot of championship fights. I don't know. Frankie is
he
not
hasn't earned them. He earns them.
Yeah.
He wasn't handed anything.
I still remember the beating he put on
saying
top.
that he had his opportunity against Aldo and he lost. What do you want?
I'm not saying that
another opportunity.
I'd rather see him go down. I'd rather see him go down to 135.
Easy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I love it for that division. It would be great.
I don't know though. I think he plays
well
in that division. I really don't, because I think one of his biggest pluses is how much faster he is than everybody. I don't think he's going to have that sort of advantage, right?
But he does just seem to be more the size of a Cody and a TJ than the guys that he's going up against now.
Oh, for sure. He still seems undersized, absolutely. But I think he's tailored his approach to the fight game, being undersized, and I think that it might be old dog, new tricks. If he then suddenly is like, wait a second, I'm not the fastest guy in the room. What am I going to do? Not to say that he can't adapt, because Frankie never going to, that guy can adapt to getting hit with a thunderbolt in the mouth in round 2 and come back and win a 5-round decision. So, he
of course.
Can definitely, but it's going to be a real big stretch, I think, especially at this stage in his career.
This Saturday. Well, I mean, we're going to see this Saturday with how fast Rodriguez is.
We can go right into it if you guys want to talk about it. I mean, against Rodriguez, Edgar's got a big test in front of him. Obviously, there's more for Rodriguez to lose.
Yair doesn't have a girlfriend. He doesn't even have friends, he says. All he thinks about is Frankie Edgar.
That's disturbing. Slight-wise. I think the way you said it, too. Sounded
he said it to TMZ, too. He said it, and it sounded like pillow talk. It really did. He was sounded sexual.
I have no friends. I have no girlfriend.
Well, Frankie, if you're listening, don't go for any triangles. You might get a terrible surprise.
Oh, no. No. Jesus Christ.
Through the cup.
Yeah.
Look at this. We got breaking news, folks. Henry Cejudo is out from this Saturday's fight against Pettis. He hurt his hand.
Bullshit.
I was just going to bring that fight up, actually. It's crazy. That's so weird.
That fight
They should move up Brandon, what's his name? The guy from The Ultimate Fighter.
No, Alvarez Poirier. They should move up. Forget Brandon whatever. How is that on FX?
Wait, you mean to tell me that the Sergio Pettis Henry Cejudo fight was on the main card and Alvarez Poirier is? I know Alvarez Poirier is on the undercard, but you're telling me that the Cejudo fight was on the regular card?
I'm looking at UFC.com right now. Yeah.
Yeah, but they're trying to.
Yeah, because it was the main event of the prelims.
Yeah, that they're trying to get people to watch the prelims, man.
I got you. And to lead in to buy, right? The last minute buys.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
That's
Makes
a good
sense.
Point. Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, whatever.
But that fight's gone. So.
Gee, what happened? What happened to Cejudo?
He hurt his hand. That's all the report said.
What, jerking off? What a dumb shit. What did he do?
Who knows? I don't know. Maybe he got it stuck in a hair helmet.
Oh, man. He was raking it through his hair, and then his hair ate his hand. I could totally see that. That thing's eating soul. There's 13 Irish hookers that are stuck in that hair.
There's one fighter that I absolutely despise.
I think we're all in lockstep on that.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. I really do.
Yeah,
he looks like a Mexican serial killer.
Not at all.
There's nothing nice about him. He looks like the John Wayne Gacy south of the border. Right? Like, look at his eyes.
Wow.
And that hair.
First of all, I would beat the shit out of him, I think, too.
Oh boy, there we go.
Like 2 feet tall.
Just look at him.
No, I could see even like Chris. Yeah, you know what? That's one of them where I wouldn't say no. I think Chris has even chance.
Dude, you got him by like 90 pounds. Like, there's no way he's beating you in a fight.
It's like beating up a middle schooler that's really angry. You You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh my God,
grader.
Henry Cejudo with my
really
ex-girlfriend on Chris's back. He's not even that same way.
Oh my God.
Oh God.
Nicer hair. Jesus.
No, I didn't mean to interject there, but that's
He would
pretty,
like
that's
thank,
pretty
he would
big
like
news
thank me
there.
for beating his ass. He's
Yeah.
such a weirdo.
He is
Tries
an
to say
odd.
everything.
I was just happy he lost to Benavidez. That was
Me too.
like, thank God he lost to Benavidez.
Benavidez had the greatest
Even though I don't
one.
think
Nobody
he really
nobody
lost,
wants to
but
fight
he
like
lost.
Henry Cejudo. Nobody cares
No.
to fight like Henry Cejudo.
No, not at all. I think, I thought he would have had a decent chance against Pettis, though. I didn't think Pettis was there yet. As much as I hate to say it with the wrestling,
I agree with that
think
100%.
Yeah,
so what would I do
now
to
I'm
Sergio?
glad.
I would fuck Sergio Pettis up so.
Little Pettis. And you know what? If all else fails, Chris would just burn his car down, right?
Oh my God.
Just blow up
I
his
would
car.
beat up Cejudo. What would I do to Sergio? Poor Sergio.
Man,
Oh.
you make him
Sergio's
shave
another
that
one.
soul patch.
I'm not a fan of Sergio either. Like,
So
I
what
don't
powerful-
really care
yeah.
about that fight.
Definitely not.
Powerful
fan of
hair
that weight.
game, though. You know what I'm saying? That hair was something else, though. I'm looking at the UFC.
Omar,
like that was
Omar loves hair.
that was the best hair match on this card, right? And that's including Joanna and Andrade. Like there's still better hair.
Masvidal and Maya
Pettis,
got some hair. Masvidal and Maya got some hair. And apparently Dustin Poirier grew his hair back, which looks just too weird to me. I don't get it.
Really
Why all of a sudden
does.
he's growing hair? I thought he was
He
going
looks like
bald,
John
like
Wayne
Shane said.
Casey. He really does.
Well, I can't. I have no respect for Poirier ever since Conor just stole his soul.
Yeah, you can't get behind
Once
him.
you become that humbled, I mean, I guess it's like watching two guys that have been left in his wake fight to maintain
for like
some
respectability, for like the last
Right.
shred of dignity. There's
Sliver of
dignity that's
respectability.
dangling. You have to beat the other guy and then climb up a ladder. And there's a suitcase, and there's a little bit of respectability in that suitcase. You have to get to it in order to win. Jesus.
A ladder match in the cage?
It really
I
is.
love it.
It's a ladder match, and the loser loses his girlfriend to the winner. It's done. Like we were just
That's
taking
hilarious.
Well,
pictures.
now,
So real quick. Hello? Tommy, were you going to say something? Go ahead.
Well, yeah,
Tommy
I was
got
about
hyped.
to ask. I was about to ask, what do you think the UFC does with him if he loses to Alvarez?
That's what the wall's for. No, what? Hold on, what? No, not Cejudo. Sorry. God.
He
No, I'm
says
talking
he's
about
one
Poirier.
win away from he said he's a win away from a title shot, Poirier. So I mean, if exactly right,
He could walk
if
on
that's
to
true,
Eagles,
What the fuck?
right?
if that's
Like
true, he's
running
not
back?
going to get kicked out or cut.
So
Don't you
wait,
think?
he's gonna jump over Khabib and Ferguson and Nate.
Yeah.
Who the fuck made him that promise? That sounds like a Dana White promise after a night of drinking
That's
in
like
Vegas.
Santa Claus telling you, if you're a good
That
boy,
sounds
I'll
like-
give you a toy. You know what I'm saying? He
Makes
puts you
zero
on his
sense.
lap, talks you all creepy.
Michael Johnson got
Take a
promised
picture.
next title shot too.
Yeah, I think I did. Hold on, I got a letter from the UFC. Yep. If I can make light
So wait.
heavyweight, I can fight DC instead
Light
of Jones.
heavyweight, please.
Yeah, if
I have
I
no.
can get
I
down
think
there.
I'm walking around at light heavyweight right now.
That's
I
fine.
don't have to-
Natural weight,
I don't even have to
Sakuraba
cut
weight. All right, gangster weight. As Chael Sonnen would say.
What happens to Pettis though? Like now does
You're right,
Pettis
we'll
get
get-
another opponent?
Welfare.
I would get out of
Goes
Sakuraba
back to the
so
welfare
bad.
office. You shut your whore mouth.
Okay.
Kick
Right now.
Sakuraba in his
Just
fat
bring
gut.
this back. Carl, what were you saying?
Yeah.
Let's bring this back to reality. What happens to Sergio Pettis now? Does he get another opponent, or is that fight off the card?
Disability.
They haven't
He
announced
gets
it yet,
SSI.
so I'm probably thinking
Yeah,
that's it. He's just going to
who
get the
cares?
show
He
money.
fights at 125.
I'm just thinking for the poor guy's pocket. Like, does he lose
DJ.
all that money? Does he lose his show
No, he
money?
gets DJ now.
You know,
You
DJ
have
finally
Sergio
gets
fight the
number
winner
one.
of Andrade fucking Joanna Champion.
And Joanna beats him.
After
Joanna
the girls
beats him
fight
handily.
each other.
Joanna
oh,
beats
man,
him.
Joanna
He's
was
getting
kicked.
show money.
Yeah.
Money.
No, Joanna
That fight
would
happens
take
right after.
Sergio's girlfriend after the fight too. Like
Oh,
let's keep with that theme of Attila the Hun and just stealing people's bitches. All right, she would totally run through his soul and be like, "I've seen a better soul patch on my girlfriend's vagina. Like let's get rid of that thing and then get out of here, right? He's just looking like a doofy Gap model that got rejected, Sergio Pettis.
He looks like his brother, looks like just a smaller, more retarded version of his brother.
He looks like his brother that kept on getting slapped in the back of the head, so his ears stayed that way. You know what I'm saying?
Milwaukee.
He's
from Milwaukee.
Guys,
he's from Milwaukee.
That's all you got to say, right? That's it.
Like,
Jesus.
Spanish people
they got
from
is
Milwaukee
the Brewers.
just look retarded.
Yeah. Well, look at Ryan Braun, right? Doesn't he look retarded? He acts retarded. Can't even pass a drug test. Yeah. Oh, good call.
I don't know if he's from Milwaukee, though.
So, Carl,
I think he's a Filipino, right?
What's up,
I
Carl?
was just reading that if Sergio shows up to the weigh-ins on Friday and weighs in, he'll get his show money.
Well, that's good.
And then he
loses out on potential win money.
Nah, stop it. He fights DJ.
He'll get gas
DJ gets
money.
number 11.
He'll get gas
he
money and probably
pay Sergio his money because he's a fighter that gets paid fucking $10,000 a fight. So they're not going to give a shit about paying him his money.
Dana White's
making shit anyway. Here, take your check.
And
take your check.
It's not change.
Oh,
right?
Eddie Bravo said on the Joe Rogan podcast that when Tony didn't get paid his full purse because it was supposed to be fucking $500,000, they're not going to give him that to not fight. But Sergio Pettis,
I hear what you're saying.
No, they offered to pay him in pesos, though, is what I heard Eddie Bravo say. And then Eddie was like, wait a second. You know what? The equivalency is not the same.
Yeah.
So we need hard dollars up in this bitch, all right? Tower 7 did not fall for pesos to my fighters.
Oh, my God.
Can we not off Eddie Bravo, please?
What? Yo, Michael Bisping is doing all sorts of work with Eddie Bravo. He went back in on him the other day. Good Lord. Jesus Christ.
Eddie Bravo's a retard.
What if you got against weed smokers? I like Bisping a lot. What the fuck?
Yeah.
You gotta relax in that hole.
He really should, honestly. Considering that I think what would help his eye, right, would be a little bit of the marijuana.
Yeah.
Man.
Yo, real quick,
now
guys,
he got the title. He got the title of squintiest guy, celebrity. Now the big black died, right? Like Bisping's definitely the most famous guy with the squinty eye, aside from non-Asian squinty eye guy.
Is
he the first?
Most people wouldn't fight with that though. Bisping's a tough motherfucker, man.
Hell yeah.
He's British.
He's probably is gonna go sooner than later.
That's fine.
He's like that.
Then he's going to fight with an eye patch. He's going to look like Big Boss from Metal Gear Solid. That's totally okay. He can have another career in the movies.
Or Saget.
Yeah. Right? Exactly.
Yeah.
Give him a scar.
I think the only person I saw fight with a busted up eye was Tito Ortiz for his entire career, really. I mean, he fractured his eye orbital, and it was like fucking one punch away from like ruining his life for the rest of his career. And
then he married Jenna Jameson and poked out both of them after he saw what that thing
looked like. No, it wasn't
a
marriage, he said. That wasn't a marriage. Get your story straight, Shale.
What?
It wasn't a marriage.
Stop it.
What?
Yeah, okay. Get out of here. Yeah, legally, because he doesn't want to give up half his shit. That's why it's not a marriage.
Hey,
yeah,
man,
get out of town.
He's the first
she
guy
made
to turn a hoe into a house.
way more money than he did.
I'd want alimony. I would want alimony in that case. I'd be like, listen, you know what? We adopted these 2 Mexican kids, and you need to pay me to raise them. She
probably got paid a ton of money to do those anal rain dances that she usually did on those movies. You know,
anal rain dance. Oh my sweet Lord! Oh,
what the fuck?
Jesus. Yo, I think
didn't Uriah Hall almost blind that dude Bubba on The Ultimate Fighter?
Yeah, he did blind. Bubba, have you ever heard of Bubba?
Yeah, Bubba's not here no more.
I think you're talking about. Talking about the Ultimate Fighter season with Rashad Evans and Rampage. When that one fighter fucked up the other one's eye.
No, dude. Right, I know what you're saying. He like separated the fucking. I know that I know what you're talking about. Yeah, he ruptured like the vessels that lead to his eye or whatever. Right, but the dude Bubba got hit by Uriah Hall, and he was laying face down on the mat, and he was asking the ref what happened. The ref's like, you got caught. He's like, why is my eye burning so bad? and then he got up and all his shit was all fucked up. Look it up. Like the most, if you go on YouTube and look up like the scariest knockouts in Ultimate Fighter history.
Raya put Vicks on his extremities before that fight. I don't want to hear anything else about that, and just hit him with a foot full of Vicks. Just fucked him up. You ever got Vicks in the eye? Exactly. Well, yeah, that too. You ever put Vicks in your eye? Dude, I'd want to pull that thing out too. Jesus.
No.
Did it on a dare. Wouldn't recommend it.
What?
Terrible.
Why would you ever do that?
Because I say yes to dares as a small kid. Like, I was dumb. Get out of here.
Yeah, I can't say anything against that. We, in basic training, like 8 of us put icy hot on our nuts and went and stand out to final formation.
Oh,
yeah.
No. That's tough, too. I've done it by mistake. I've done it totally by mistake. I put icy hot on my groin, and then I sat down. No, God. Oh, it got into my taint, too. Jesus Christ, I saw all the angels. I saw the angels in heaven. GSP was talking to me about aliens and dinosaurs and stuff before I even knew who he was. It was terrible. Some bald Frenchman.
Oh, back to the UFC 211 card. Yeah, but seriously, honestly, I wanted to ask you guys this question. Does this Joanna fight versus Jessica Andrade, obviously this is her toughest test. Does this girl have a chance of beating Joanna, or is it just another walk in the park for her?
It does, because she poses different issues with grappling, but that I don't know, man. Joanna's just a beast. Her takedown defense is pretty nuts.
She's just long and lanky, and it's like she's like bigger than most of the fighters that she fights, and she uses her range so low.
Once she knows you can't take her down, she really fucking punishes you. So if you can't take her down, you're in for it.
But was she slightly exposed in the Carolina fight, though? Because Carolina did fucking really well against her. You know, she busted her face up pretty good. You know,
yeah, but you have to have you have to have that skill set to pose those problems.
That was Polak on Polak violence, though. I think that's not. That's something else. I think they just kind of figured each other out. And I was surprised with Carolina. But Andrade, I don't think has any sort of chance.
I mean, it's the fight goes to
Jesus.
We have a caller.
Exactly. Caller, you're on.
Hey, guys. It's your favorite Jersey guy in Hawaii.
Hey, Mike.
What's up, man?
What's going on, guys? Now, just checking in. I'm doing all right. I started listening, and I was playing hopscotch with the phone because when I started listening, you guys were talking about anal rain dances and icy hot on the balls. So I was kind of like, should I call? Should I not call?
It's possible to say anal rain dance on this show.
Should I call? Should I not call? And then I called in, and by the time I got in, you guys were talking about fights again. So my call is once again irrelevant. But yeah.
What, you had something to say about the anal rain dance? Hold on a second.
I was just gonna get you guys back on track and let you guys know you guys are doing a great job.
Thank you. Oh, Mike, I love you.
No, it's really what I look forward to. I had on my balls and dicks in my eyes.
Dicks on my veins.
Oh my God!
Jesus,
I was happy that by the time the phone rang through, you guys were talking about fighting again. And I was like, oh shit, I missed my window. But
nah, man, always appreciated.
You know what's funny to me?
We figured we were going to hear from.
He tunes into an MMA podcast and he hears about anal rain dance. Like, that's just the diversity of this show.
Oh, okay, that's what we're talking about today. Let's see where this is going. Vicks and anal. All right, I wouldn't introduce those two together.
You know, Mike,
the same sentence.
I figured we were going to hear from you like the week before UFC 212. I didn't think we were going to hear from you so early.
That's true.
You know what it was? Is I don't know what's going on. The school's almost out. My kids baseball all night and all nonsense. So I thought they were fighting sooner than they were. I'm glad they're not fighting for another month. But I just saw the post. I don't even want to get into it. We'll talk about it in 2 days. The poster don't make no sense to me. Why is he upside down?
Poster?
Yeah, why is he upside down?
He's pissed about that. He's
the
pissed
fuck
about
kind of racist shit is that?
It is, isn't it?
Is that like
yeah, but if you turn it
like
the
an
other way
equator
around,
reference?
he's on top.
Yeah.
Is it an equator? I don't get it.
If you turn
Is he a vampire?
Around, he's on top. So
like, is he a bat?
you know what? It looks like are they going to make like a deck of cards? Is that what? If they're going to do a deck of cards, then I'm all for it.
That makes
they're not
sense.
doing it.
Yeah,
they're not doing a UFC deck of cards, and there's really no purpose to this. Sorry to derail your fight conversation with anal rain dances. If I apologize.
Hey, man. How dare you?
Well,
Thanks a lot,
call
Mike.
in at the right time.
Oh, thank God.
So, you guys are talking about Andrade and what's her face?
Joanna.
Other chick.
Yeah.
Joanna Champion.
She's a beast, man. I seen her on I don't know what she was on, like Highly Questionable or something the other day, and she just looks scary. She looks like she doesn't have a conscience.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, she's a bad bitch, man, for real.
Yeah, she looks like she has no, like she looks like a normal person. You could hold a conversation with her, but she looks like there's a sociopath like right in the back of her head.
She looks like Black Widow from the comic books, not the Scarlett Johansson iteration, but like the person you would think would be an operative for the Eastern Bloc, right? Just killing people.
Like she'd be like your nanny, she'd be your nanny like during the day and at night, like just offering diplomats. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Like, where were you last night? Oh, I just, I went for a jog. You sure?
And she pulled out some sweater that she knitted for the cat. Like, look, I was knitting a sweater. I was busy all night.
Exactly. Yeah, that's not a silencer. Shut up.
That's exactly what I think. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I guess as long as Omar agrees with me, I know I'm somewhat on topic.
There you go.
That's all I care about. I mean, just checking in with you guys. You guys are doing your thing. Like I said, I don't get to check in as much as I like to, but when I do, I'm glad that you guys are always talking about fighting.
Always.
Nothing but fights. I'm glad
this MMA hour doesn't, turn into an S&M hour.
Hey, play your cards right,
gentlemen.
You never know.
Doing your thing. I'll check back in with you guys closer to the Holloway fight because that's the one I'm emotionally invested in.
More than welcome,
man.
As much time as
you calling in, bro.
Good listening. Yeah, sorry to derail, and you guys have a good afternoon. Be safe.
Yep,
you
too.
All right, Mike.
Also, it's nighttime here. It's not the afternoon, but whatever.
Well, it's the afternoon where he is.
2:30 in the afternoon. 2:30 in sunny and breezy.
Stay easy.
So, either way, point stands. Be safe,
all right,
guys.
Mike.
Yep.
See you later.
Okay.
That's funny. That's just funny that somebody actually was able to experience that in the way he did. So,
Yeah.
Anal rain dance. I didn't know where that was going either, and I'm glad someone caught on.
And I still don't want to know. I'm on the fence between opening up an incognito window and searching it up, but then again, I'm not. You know what I mean? I'm almost. So anyway, Joanna versus.
That's what it was.
No.
It's a line from Sons of Anarchy.
Jesus Christ. Nice. They weren't pornographers, were they? Absolutely they were. Anyway.
Yes, they were.
Exactly. So, Joanna Champion versus some Brazilian chick with a mean mug.
Oh, man. Joanna probably wins. She uses her distance, and I think she her hands to take it. So that's where I'm at. I'm pretty sure you guys are all locked up. I just wanted to see if that's what you guys thought, like if this girl had even a shot in the dark to doing anything. And
if it's a shot in the dark, it's a shot. Like, she needs to die for her shoelaces, as Tommy would say, and then just never give up.
Just keep driving.
Exactly.
Just keep driving.
Yep.
Right.
Use the cage, do whatever.
You know what it is with these women's divisions? It's like most of them all have a shot. That's you know what I mean?
Right.
They mostly
trying to
all
say
have
you're watered down?
an outside chance.
I'm triggered.
No.
Tommy. How dare you?
Not
It's
watered
terrible.
down. There's just not as much competition in their divisions yet.
Tyron Woodley just tweeted at me, but then he realized that it wasn't a racial issue, so he said, never mind. So he
deleted it.
Y'all, exactly. Y'all can just
Well, I just got
bag
one
on
from
ladies.
Fallon Fox that said girls rule, so what can I tell
Oh, no. God. She has shoulders that I envy, for God's sakes. Those things. Cassava melons near her
and a Johnson
ears.
bar you wish you had? Is that what you're saying?
Hey, you know what? She's probably packing the old Hagaroo still. I wouldn't get rid of it if I was fighting in the women's division. I would just be like,
Mike, if you're still listening, we're off MMA again.
The Hagaroo has nothing to do with it. It's the huevos that have something to do with it.
Hey, man, it's a package deal, as the kids say. So next fight. What do we want to talk about? Yo, Chris
Well,
just gave up.
I glossed over the Masvidal-Maia fight because we talked about it last week, and everybody says Maia's going to win. So, I mean, is there really even much to talk about there? Like, does anybody give Masvidal a chance? I mean,
that powerful beard.
Well, yeah,
though.
Masvidal has a chance if he could keep it on the feet. As long as he can
but
stay out of Maia's clinch. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
If he can stay out of Maia's clinch.
He's eating like shit. I know that. He posted something the other day, like, train like a man, eat like a man, and he's having, like, double cheeseburgers and shit. And I'm just like, Masvidal, Jorge, mira. Okay, ven acá. And we had a talk in my native language.
Well, I mean, since when is eating a cheeseburger like eating like shit? Because the cheeseburgers are delicious.
They're delicious, but it's not what I'm going to have right before, the week before a major competition of any sort, and
right.
I don't even compete on this level.
If it's bison meat, I'm sure it's okay.
If it's people, I guess, right? You're getting more power, right? Like Dahmer. If you're having 5 guys and it's really 5 guys, you know what I'm saying? But, like, you never know. Exactly. Hey, man, it worked for the Aztecs. I don't know. Maybe it's an old Cuban tradition that I don't know about. There's some savages on that island, sir. All right? There's type of Santerias forbidden in Puerto Rico for good reason. I just want to put that out there. And anybody that wants to call in and dispute that fact, we have a Spanish section at the end of the show. But this guy, I don't think he's really got anything to answer with Maia's ability. I think, right, Carl, guys? Everybody agrees there?
Yeah, it's just, I mean, he's so far advanced, Maia. It's going to take somebody of that ilk to, I think, beat him or just catch him with one of the first few flurries that they throw at him, and like that's, you're going to have to stick somebody with a jab a couple times, keep your distance, and hurt them early. That's the only way you beat these ground guys. Or
just not engage him, right? Like the legend Anderson Silva, right? The legend Anderson Silva, just not fight him. The art of fighting without fighting. He was embodying Bruce Lee's philosophy on the art of unarmed combat. So I guess he is a legend. But yeah, that's the only way you beat Maia is you don't fight him, I guess. Good Lord.
Yeah, so that's going to be a tough one. I mean, I think we're all pretty much in lockstep on the Joanna fight, the Maia fight. Edgar Rodriguez, I don't want to go back, but just I want to talk about it real quick. You guys have Rodriguez or Edgar or what? Tommy, you have Edgar, I'm assuming?
Of course. It's just going to be weird.
The blind follows the blind.
You're going to see somebody. Wow, really?
Yeah.
You're going to see You're actually going to see somebody with the same speed as Frankie in the cage. You haven't gotten to really see that yet, so It should be interesting. But I think Frankie will find a way to just get it to the ground and just keep him there.
Yeah,
honestly, just turn it into a human blanket.
That's for sure. Alvarez Poirier, real quick. I mean,
Alvarez.
What do you think here, guys?
Alvarez.
Yeah.
Poirier, I think
he's got the pedigree.
Oh, fuck
the championship
shit out of
pedigree.
him.
Right. That's what we're going to see with both of these fights.
Did somebody call in? Hold on.
We have a fourth host, apparently.
Whoa. Yikes. Jesus. He gave up. He heard Anal Rain Dance, and he said, fuck it, I'm out of here. Jesus.
I heard the
he was
bang down.
He had to do the 5-knuckle shuffle on his fist bump for a minute, watching the Anal Rain Dance.
Whoa, Jesus. Yo, you called him blind. You made fun of Frankie. Now the real
show,
time. Mask off, right? Fuck it.
Yeah.
It's over.
Oh my God.
Molly Purple Sacks, right? So.
Right. All right. So doing this, the rest of this preview, we're basically at the main event. Heavyweight champ Stipe Miocic fighting Junior Dos Santos. Second goal down for these two. Stipe, yeah. I mean,
Miocic, as my man Joey Diaz would say, right? However, we're gonna butcher that poor bastard's name. He's gonna beat up Junior. I think Junior. You know what? Junior's the only guy that somehow still looks old as shit while photoshopped. I'm looking at this photo right now. Right? And this guy has so many miles.
It's his eyes, nose, and mouth are so close together. It looks like a different face over a face.
It looks like the Slender Man's features on a fighter. Remember that? Like, he just looks like he's creeping in the back of a wooded glade, ready to try to fuck Miocic up. And Miocic is like, I'm a firefighter, all right? I run into burning buildings, so bring it. I'll hit you with an axe, and I'll hose you down. and I'll still be champion while the end of this is sung out. I don't think Junior has. Wasn't Junior a replacement for Verdum? Because Verdum got a hangnail or something? Wasn't that didn't Verdum fall through? What happened?
I don't remember that.
I don't know, because this fight's been set for a while.
That's what I'm saying. I've been hearing about this fight for a long time, so I'd have to go back.
No, the LGBTQ community got through to Dana and said, listen, Verdum has been calling Junior gay for going on 3 or 4 months now. Now, if you want to side with the powerful people in WME, which are all gays and Jews, then what you need to do is show solidarity and get the weird closeted angry gay guy on the to carry the B side on this fight. But yeah,
well, I mean, I think they set this fight just because of how good their first fight was. So I guess it kind of made sense. But I don't
what's not good?
Beating them.
These kits, these Reebok kits. There's no good. I mean, I'm trying to do different shades on them. I'm trying to use my paint over here.
Yeah, you know what's funny? You know what's funny? Dustin Poirier is auctioning off a Reebok kit with every fight now. From now on, to feed the hungry. That business, that charity's gonna go out of business in 2 weeks.
They're gonna stay hungry. All right, they're not. Yeah, they're gonna die hungry if he's waiting.
He should probably auction.
He's I got a bunch of kids sitting around. Go ahead.
Well, he should auction off the outfit that he lost to Conor in. I'm sure somebody would buy that. Conor probably would.
Oh boy. Oh
Conor would probably buy that and keep
it as a trophy
in his trophy room.
That barber's number that set him up with that goofy ass haircut. And that's who we should auction off. So somebody could go shoot
Conor's
him.
Man bun. I thought
and
that's
stop
what you were
him.
talking about, the man bun.
No, you know what? That's still better. That's still better than whatever the hell they got going on Dustin's head here. All right. Seriously. The only Dustin that looks good with hair is Screech. All right, and he's in jail, so he probably doesn't have hair because he turned Muslim to survive. Okay? So all Dustins that we know of are now bald, or should be bald. So fuck it.
But yeah,
terrible.
Stipe definitely takes that fight. I think it's going to go 5 rounds. I don't think it's going to be like a quick knockout.
Go back
I think
and
it's going to go 5 rounds.
Yeah. Junior's dangerous early, I think, right? If Junior's got a shot. Yeah.
Fuck that. Hell yeah.
Yeah, he is.
Well, ask Cain Velasquez, because he took that one punch behind the ear and went night-night.
Well, that's why I got rid of my right one. So you can't get me on that side. There's no ear to hit behind. I'm impervious. You can hit me with a 2x4. Jim Hacksaw Duggan tried, laughed at his ass, and then said, "Go get better overalls. Those are Oshkoshes, you fuck." So.
Yo, I saw that Melvin Gillard was doing. Melvin Gillard was on a podcast the other week, last
fuck
week.
Melvin Gillard.
Did you guys ever
Hold on.
That piece of shit ever make right?
No. That piece of shit still owes us $1,000 goddamn dollars. All right, take it out his ass.
That's crazy.
Wait, how much did he?
It's gonna happen. Oh, he took he took about $1,400 all told.
Show up.
Yeah,
and then didn't show up.
You know what? Yeah, he pulled the Tyrone Biggums on us pretty much. He was just like, yo,
I need that money, guys. I need that money. I really need that money. I got this investment opportunity. It's called Red Ball.
And then, we just we believed in him, But I got to say, after watching that great Amazon show, Sneaky Pete, I almost respect the con because he did do the long play. All right. I think on the show they called it rolling the Turk. I think he rolled the Turk on us and he got us for $1,400. But I swear to God, if that dude comes within the vicinity of the Northeast, okay, he's going to end up in the woods. That's all I'm going to say. And there's a lot of woods up in Pleasant Valley. That's all I have to say.
It just shocks me that he does a seminar at your place.
Yeah.
You guys pay him.
Yeah. Totally
and
legit.
Just come back to do another one.
And he was great.
That's terrible.
Aside from the overnights at the strip club, he was a church boy. You know what I'm saying? But I'm putting his shit right on Front Street. I don't give a fuck at this point. This guy, I've emailed him 14 times. All right, English, Spanish, very polite in both languages. Who knows? He's in Miami, so maybe he had a Spanish dude working his social media. So I hit him in both languages. Nothing. I've got 0. So you know what?
Crazy.
Whatever. He was nice. He was great. And remember when I told you guys, I was like, holy crap! The press is wrong. The story is about him is greatly exaggerated. Yeah, no, it's
I
not.
Guess it
it's
wasn't,
worse.
huh?
It's totally worse. He's more of a piece of shit than even I thought. You know what I mean? And I'm half Ecuadorian, so I know about pieces of shit. Let me tell you that right now.
So then I guess his portrayal on The Ultimate Fighter wasn't bullshit. It was true.
No,
He's just a dick.
No, he's just crazy. I mean, there's a reason why he got bounced out for cocaine. It's probably where the $1,000 went. You know, I don't know, man. I mean, somebody that
well,
says,
you said he spent all night in a strip club. He probably spent the $1,000 on the
2 nights.
rain dance. I'm telling you.
2.
I'm telling you.
Oh my God.
He was the shaman for that rain dance. Let me tell you, with the $1,000, it was that level 65.
You guys actually have strip clubs in the boonies?
No, and you know what? And it's a classy one, sir. I'll have you know. I'm not an investor, but you know they give me 25% if I get people to go. No, not at all. It's a random. It's on this random road where you're surprised because it's woods, and then like it's new, so it's built really, really nicely, and you're like, wow, what is that? Oh yeah, it's the strip club, and then you're like, fuck it, I'm going to the quick check up the road. I'm not stopping here. I gotta pee. I gotta go up there.
But, what kind of dances are in that place?
I've never been. I've really never had the pleasure. It's crazy. Where I used to work, I had to pass it on the way to work, and I was always like, okay, I'm about 20 minutes from work. That's crazy. You know, it's like a landmark I could gauge. But it's always, like I said, it's always surprising because it's a legitimately nicely built, you know, structure. It's new. We don't get a lot of new buildings here. It's all you know, old buildings and no indoor plumbing around these parts, sirs. And yeah,
terrible.
I'll tell you. And then you realize, yeah, they built it nice because it's a strip club. So who the hell figures, right? You know. And
Melvin Gillard slept there a couple nights.
For 2 nights in a row. I got to give, you know what, the one thing I have to say respectfully about him is that he still had the stamina to put on seminars, and he was still a beast during the seminar. So
because he needed the money back that he lost in the strip club.
You get it?
He probably
man.
left there broke.
More than likely, you know, we paid him.
He probably couldn't even get a cup of coffee before coming to do the seminar.
His friend took him to the Quick Check up the road and got him, you know, which has tremendous coffee. I don't know if they have it by you guys, but love that place. It's well lit.
Quick Checks, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's right, in Jersey. God bless you guys. Yeah, I love those places.
Hell yeah.
No, but it's on one side of the river up here, and that's the side that has the strip club. So I don't know if there's a correlation. I don't know if there's causation because, you know, one doesn't equal the other. But, yeah, there's Quick Checks on the west side of the Hudson. And I think that's probably where he ended up to sober up and come teach kids. Classy guy.
Well, I really hope that you know what he did to you guys really shits on whatever kind of credibility he had left. Because after he got knocked the fuck out in Bellator, nobody really wants to see him fight again.
I don't get it. Yeah, exactly.
He's
right?
well from his seminars, and he's not showing up for them, so he's pretty much done.
That's what I don't understand, and I was super excited. Hey, man, I fucked up in my past. You know, I think everybody can say they've made a couple mistakes here and there. So I was totally willing to give the guy a second chance, and he was nothing but a gentleman, you know, while he was up here. You know, maybe not to, you know, the lovely ladies at Mansion, but that's neither here nor there. You know, I don't care. But he, you know, he did right by us, and then we're super excited. We had we just opened the place. We're ready to bring him in to do like a you know, big grand opening thing, and robs us and stays in Florida. So who knows? I hope he gets his dick chopped off by an alligator.
I'm so
Real
glad.
Quick though.
I'm so glad that you never set anything up with him to come on here because he would have probably blown us off.
Who knows? Or said some wild stuff. You know what I'm saying? And that's coming from me. I say some pretty crazy off-color stuff, but.
Did you have to like pay people back for who paid to like come to the seminar?
Yeah, and that's what sucked. Exactly. Like we had everybody set up. It eventually he strung us along for that week. So, you know, I did some Santeria, which apparently wasn't, you know, the Cuban high level Santeria. So I guess it didn't work. But 2 days out from the seminar, we had to eventually give everybody back their money, which we did, obviously. So we just took it right on the chin as, any good, it's on us. We're not gonna take a shit on the people that were supporting the seminar and supporting the grand opening. And you know what? Not for nothing, we had a great grand opening anyway. We had another black belt come from up north. He's one of my coaches. He was, I think, my coach's first black belt, Brian Bury, a savage in the middleweight division, and just an overall awesome guy. He came down. We combined both schools. We did some promotions. I mean, we did a big get out. There was a nice little cookout after. We're friends with eateries in the plaza, which I think shows that we're decent business people. So, we did a good thing, really. We would have had a bouncy house if it wasn't brick out because, it's terrible. It's cold. It's cold like 90% of the year up here, guys. I hate it. But, so we made do, and we had to give back money. But, I was really hoping that he would prove everybody wrong, but like Chris said, somebody who's taken a shit on their own fighting career and let me tell you this, with his natural gifts, because say what you want to say, jiu-jitsu is his Achilles heel. So, people were giving him that work at the gym. We have a couple savages that work, but overall, you could still tell he would pop back up. His wrestling was pretty decent. His striking was pretty decent. Still, if he had gotten his shit together, he would have had a very, very lucrative run, both doing the Bellator or the World Series of Fighting or wherever he ended up, and then having that supplement his income with the notoriety to gain more asses and seats for seminars. But Chris put the nail on the head. Like, what the hell are you doing? Shooting what's going to be your only source of income. I don't think he's got a job with the Rams like my man AJ does. So I don't know what he's doing for money, and so buyer beware. Anybody he's hitting up for a seminar, be very, very, very careful is pretty much all I can say.
Right. I'm sure he won't be doing anything in the area anyway. So, but whatever. I mean, enough. We could literally talk about that for hours. I could sit here and just listen to you talk bash him and not care. But people might not give a shit much anymore.
Yeah,
one last thing I wanted to talk about is Anderson Silva is out of the 212 card. He was waiting for an opponent. Uriah Hall was poking at him, saying we have unfinished business. The fans want to see it. I don't know how true that is, but Uriah Hall, right? Exactly. But
no, I'm talking about what fans want to see that.
Oh, right.
Vitor.
Right, yeah.
Him
exactly.
and Vitor and Rio. Why not? And send them both into the Amazon.
Well, you know what it is?
Take PEDs.
He's riding so high on his Legends bracket win that he just doesn't need to fight anymore. I think that's what
he's done. He's ready. That's the last accolade that he was waiting for. I think, Tommy, you're absolutely right. He's like, you know what? I'm a Pride rules 2-minute warning, Legends bracket champion. I'm done. I've done everything I wanted to do when I was a young boy in Curitiba, Brazil. So it's over. Get out of here.
Dana White's like, if you're mulling retirement, you might as well just retire then, because nobody cares anymore really about what's going on with Anderson Silva.
Let's give a belt to a 42-year-old man. How about we do that? Yeah, that makes a lot of perfect sense.
Right.
Just because you have 75 fights left on your contract doesn't mean that you're actually going to fight 75 more times.
Oh my God, he has a longer contract than I think like the Ford workers do. But I'm talking about the older Ford workers that drew them into bankruptcy because of their pension liability that they were dragging that poor company down. That's the type of contracts that he signed. He had an old labor lawyer pen that one up down in Brazil where they're all communists anyway. How the hell? Who signed that thing to him? I swear to God.
Speaking of bullshit in Brazil, what about this Kelvin Gastelum bullshit?
Oh my God.
That's a bullshit.
Yeah, it is. It absolutely
is. They had to pay back
is.
some money, and they're pissed off. Well, he's pissed off, saying that's all they care about is the money, and who the hell knows?
Well, how are you going to turn that into a no contest?
I agree.
How are you going to turn that into a no contest? He beat the fucking brakes off Vitor.
Yeah, but rules are in place to say that if you fail a drug test, for any reason, the rule is in place saying that the fight gets changed, and they're just following protocol there. You can't really hate them for that.
What
it's
protocol?
Like a tough rule.
Was the Brock Lesnar fight changed to a no contest?
Are you defending Mark Hunt right now?
With Mark Hunt?
Hold on, Carl.
It's
stop.
just my question.
Stop the presses.
It wasn't. It wasn't.
I guess you're right.
It wasn't though. It wasn't changed to a no contest.
I gotta check. I was assuming that it was
white.
protocol if you failed the drug test, like that.
Tyron
That's
Woodley
what they
just
would
said
do.
it because Brock was white. That's why it wasn't a no contest. But Kelvin
unless
is
it's just up to the
Apache
athletic
Indian.
commission. If it's up to the athletic commission, we all know why they're turning it to a no contest because in America
only
they take the living fuck out of their legend.
The only commission
that's the only thing
that
I'm
makes
thinking
New
of.
York look good, I think, is that Brazilian mockery that they have going on back there. That is a cunt hair away from an Indian reservation with regards to legitimacy and the rule of law. Let's not kid ourselves, guys, all right? I mean, you go down to Brazil, you need to roll 40 deep. The UFC's beloved down there, but if, say, we got like a company together and we were trying to bring it to Brazil, we'd have to hire extra muscle. That place is a lawless game still. I don't care what anybody says. I saw City of God. You all did too. I know that, right? They got little kids running up on you with AKs. Fuck it. Hey, who cares? I mean, Kelvin knows. We all know Kelvin beat that guy, and if he's, he
beat the shit out of him.
Exactly. And but you know what though? To the Gucci's point, I think both of them are going to pop up and say it's the rules, and I have to agree there. Don't be a professional. I'm not against weed, of course, but be a pro. You know what the rules are. If you're getting caught for weed, it's because you're retarded. Hate to use I shouldn't use that word. Sorry for that guy that just got his black belt down in Brazil. But but no, you shouldn't be getting popped for weed. That's just Bush League stuff. All you got to do is go across the street to your GNC, pump, massive amounts of golden seal into your veins, drink it, dip your dick in it. Exactly, something, man, and then you're fine. All right, if you're getting caught now, that means you're smoking before the weigh-in, or some bullshit.
Right,
you're smoking,
you really have to smoke that much. You have to smoke weed up, it gets out of your system 2.5 weeks.
But no, because that shit sits in your fat cells. So he's a big dude. Yeah. So it doesn't just.
I get it, but you're gonna be smoking a lot, dude. You're gonna be smoking a lot every day. Right.
All right.
Be like the Diaz brothers. Just don't fight if you want to smoke.
That's what they're doing, apparently. They got some crazy races, a.k.a. they want to smoke the world up. And they're getting paid. They're getting paid to apparently that cannabis pen incident made Nate a bunch of money. Like he's now, they were actually.
There was no cannabis
remember?
in that pen. There was no THC in that whatsoever.
There was everything in that pen. You stop it right now, all right? He was smoking angel dust. That thing had crushed up mushrooms. That thing had dinosaur dick in it. He was smoking everything known to man, and he was blowing it into the press's faces. The press people were falling over, retching. Some people were seeing leprechauns and shit. It was madness. But he got some money from that, I think, because now they're sponsoring weed shops out in California. So if you're gonna do it that way. You're absolutely right. But Calvin, come on, you could be a champ.
I don't have an issue with the suspension, and I don't think Kelvin does either. The issue is you don't take the win away from him. That's bullshit.
But who cares?
That's bullshit.
I see it, but I see a no contest. But you know what? I see a no contest on John Jones's record. And if that dude could talk,
well,
he would still tell you.
Why was there a no contest on John Jones's record?
Because it was an illegal blow. It was. Oh Christ! I'm telling you. What's really hilarious is that the worst thing that happened to his, of all the things he's done, the thing that actually affected his record the most was just like an errant illegal elbow. Dude's hit pregnant women with cars, right? And he's missed fights, but in terms of actually affecting his fight record, it's just that poor elbow to the little deaf guy, right? What are you doing? But I think everybody knows he won that fight. I don't consider John Jones ever being beaten. That's a bullshit no contest. Who cares? I don't think if Anderson starts tweeting, "Yay, it's overturned. I beat him," but then again, isn't he saying he wants a title shot now? So Anderson's on that. Anderson smoked. Test him. All right, he's smoking crazy shit.
You know what it is? It's just it's like they're trying to make Vitor feel better about getting fucking embarrassed. All right, well, we're going to take that loss away from you because the American guy has a pot in his system.
Right. I really didn't look too much into the whole no contest thing because I wasn't really like, I just didn't care much about it. All I was caring about was the other shit. So the fact that like the no contest change, that's a little fucked up, But it's still in the long run, you're not going to care if you could still string together a title run and potentially even win the title at one point. No one's going to care about that no contest. They're just going to see it on your record, and just like anybody else who has a no contest, they're going to just gloss over it, and it's not going to matter. So in the long run, I think
maybe I do want to see CM Punk versus Vitor. Could you imagine if CM Punk actually ended up winning?
Oh my God!
Yo, I would. Oh my Lord! The world would end. Somehow, And you know what I would do if I was Dana White? I'd say I'm giving you $150 million, Mr. Vitor. I need you to take a dive. Because if that happens, imagine the pay-per-view draw that CM Punk becomes after beating Vitor and Vitor's retiring. And Vitor's retiring anyway. Like, this is, loser. If he loses, he's leaving town regardless. If he wins, he's leaving town. Whatever. Right. I say you let him do as much drugs as possible. You make him come in looking like an action figure. All right? Just absolutely jacked. Shaved head. In like that weird Machu Picchu spiral that he puts on when he's on drugs and he's gonna fuck shit up. Not the mullet, you know what I'm saying? Like the weird spiral shit, like the aliens came down and gave him fight knowledge through shearing his locks. Then you have CM Punk beat him somehow.
Always about the hair.
Always, dude. I'm telling you, that's a source of power. It's a source of my power.
Fucking
but yeah,
Uncle
CM,
Jesse
I think.
over here.
Hey. But,
and his virgin nose.
Oh, boy. Yeah. I'm telling you, that kid's got some strong kicks. I don't give a shit, all right? I'd like to see you take one of those whoppers to the schnoz. No. I'm saying he'd probably break my nose, too, all right? A full-on soccer kick? Stop it.
Yeah, pretty much. But, hey, listen, the last 20 minutes of the show was great and all, but we were without one host. I don't know what the hell happened to Chris. I know he's still with us.
Is he okay? Did he get taken over by Mexican? Okay.
He's okay. I just think he's just doing the whole, I'm not going to speak unless it's relevant to what I care about. So just goes to show you how little he cared about the last half of the show.
I feel like this is a microcosm in the relationship with Chris in a weird way. Is it true, Chris? Is this kind of how you operate when you're just not with
Pretty much.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I guess you could say it.
Stays silent. He stays out of it. But whatever. We're really up against it here. We could force the last 5 minutes of the show and talk about how Chris didn't listen or add his 2 cents into the last few topics that we talked about. But who gives a shit? He doesn't give a shit. So why do we give a shit? I mean, next week we got our 30th episode. Hopefully there's some good fights with this 211 card that gives us a lot to talk about, and maybe there'll be some more news because it's been kind of a quiet few weeks here for the MMA world, and that makes it a little bit difficult on us trying to come up with topics. So hopefully we get some good fights and some juicy stories, and we could report on it. Back to you guys. But, I guess we could wrap it up here. I mean, I want to give a shout-out to the gyms that you guys fight for, Omar, Black Hole Jiu-Jitsu, Tommy, Madama Jiu-Jitsu, and, of course, the Institute Muay Thai with Mike Burke. Make sure you just go check out our website. We put on a link today of this MMA fighter beating the Tai Chi master of Thunder Style or whatever in about 10 seconds, proving that MMA is better than all traditional Chinese martial arts. But the country of China is in an uproar, like, oh, you're giving us a bad name, blah blah blah, which it is what it is. The guy's friggin' I think he's an Asian dude who beat him. His name is Xu Zhaojiang. So I mean, it's pretty much is what it is.
What's his name?
So check that out. What?
What was his name?
Xu Zhaojiang.
That's pretty spot on. I'm laughing only because I was pleasantly surprised. This dude put it in Google Translate.
I actually studied his name, and I'm like, how do they even say this here? It's XUXIADONG.
Yo. Rosetta Stone up in this bitch.
Right. Exactly. Right. So, go check that out on our website, www.prirulesmma.com, and, check out for more content coming. But, guys, it's been a good show. I'd like to talk to you guys next week. So hopefully we got some juiciness with these fights. And I don't know. I guess I'll just see you next week.
Take it easy.
Later.
All right.
Terrible close.